All right, well, welcome everybody. Good to see all of you guys. Time to get started. We're fired up to get started. I'll kind of take you through a couple things quickly to give you kind of a progress report, and then happy to field your questions. We are, if you don't know, we are in, since school started, we're in kind of this limited period of time that we can work with our guys. So everybody's been back since obviously school started, came back right before the weekend before school started. Our freshmen have been here since the beginning of July. They took the second summer semester to kind of get acclimated. That's been a very good transition for them. And we're in a work time period where we can train as a group for 8 hours a week, of which 2 hours of that 8 hours can be on the ice. Up until September 15th, it was in small groups where we could work with 4 players at a time. Since September 15th, that 2 hours could be consumed by team time, and that's how we've been using it. So we have 2 hours left. Our week starts today. A new week starts today, the way we have our week set up. So we'll have an hour workout today and an hour workout tomorrow. We're off on Friday, and then practice can officially start. Our 20-hour work week, our competition week, starts this Saturday. So that's where we're at. Our off season was very productive. We are really, really happy with the conditioning level that our guys came back with. I think we kind of put up that challenge on how important the off season was to make progress. We've seen that in the testing. We've seen that in the commitment level. And we've seen that early in kind of the limited amount of time we've had to skate. So that's a good thing. We are trying to translate from that off-season conditioning to what I call hockey conditioning, which to me is a little bit different. Being strong on the puck, being able to go hard for 40 seconds in a shift time, especially when you get caught on the ice or you're tired. And those are the things that we're trying to get a little bit of time to accomplish even during this time period. So when we play as early as Sunday, we have at least a basis of conditioning to work off of. So that's good. We're excited about our group. It's the first time since my first year here that we actually have a group comprised of upperclassmen playing key roles. There will be some freshmen who will get opportunity certainly to play and play important roles, but they'll be able to do that alongside guys that have some experience now, which we haven't had that liberty to do the last couple of years. And so I think that's a real good thing. I think the chemistry on our team is really good. The leadership is the best it's been since I've been here. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the captains on the team. I'm talking about the team as a whole. I think we have a good group of captains. We haven't even added a captain. The 4 guys that are wearing letters are the same 4 guys that wore letters on our team last year. That's a positive. But I think it goes deeper than that. And the best team that I ever played on in my life, it was the 1984-85 team here. And we had our 3 captains, and we had many guys on our team that could have been wearing a Captain C on their jersey that didn't. And I think that really lent to helping our team become a really good team. So I see some similarities from a leadership standpoint on this year's group for sure. Keys to a successful season. We have to continue where we left off last season. I thought our team started slow. Our team really started to come together in mid to late December and had a pretty good push, put ourselves in the Big Ten race right till the last game was played in the Big Ten season. And that was a good thing. Now we have to build on that. We didn't make it easy for us with our non-conference schedule. It's a pretty brutal non-conference schedule. We're going to play a lot of really good teams. And I think that was specifically, I know that was specifically designed when we put it together. We were anticipating those teams would be good and that would help prepare us for the Big Ten and hopefully a national tournament. And so we come into it with some confidence that we gained in the second half of the season last year. And yet, at the same time, every team is new. And this team, the important part, this team has to come together. Guys will have to emerge. We will be giving guys some opportunity to play bigger roles. We'll need some guys to step up, even guys who have performed at a real high level so far, to continue their growth and make a bigger contribution. And, we're anxious to see the impact of the new guys as well, because we think it's a real good group. So with that, I'll open it up to questions, and we'll get going. Our junior class, a couple years ago when they were freshmen, they were thrown right into it and gained a lot of experience. And a couple guys who really emerged at the time, from a minutes perspective, Mackenzie McEachern has really been a catalyst for our team. And he had an incredible off-season, I would say. And he's come in here with in excellent condition. I think he's taking on more leadership, and so far in the small sample we have, he's really thriving with that. I think he's also maturing in terms of he's always worked hard, but I think he's working smarter, and in the short practices that we've had so far, I can see him being attentive to details in his game that sometimes he kind of blew over before. So I think he's starting to realize how important practice is, not just in our team preparation, but in his own preparation and development to take his game to another level. So I expect that will happen. So that maturation has been good. Joe Cox has been a real consistent performer for us, played a lot of minutes, in great shape, is an important leader on our team, and we expect more of the same with Joe. If you came and watched practice every single day, you'd see a standard of effort that is hard to duplicate. And he sets the tone that way every single day in every single thing that he does. Thomas Ebbing has grown in his role over the past couple years, and I think there's a lot more for him to do here, and I think he can take his game to another level. He's in good physical condition. He's gained some size and strength. He can really skate. I think he's got more offensive capability than he's demonstrated so far. And yet he's a very, very good defensive player. And so I think he has a chance to continue to raise his level. And then, after that, when you start to look at some guys, we brought guys here like J.T. Stenglein, William Haig. We think that they can contribute offensively. And they're going to be given an opportunity to demonstrate that, early in the season. We've got to take a look at that to see what they can do. And I think they have the potential to do that. So it'd be nice to see them elevate their games. I thought William, for the most part, I know confidence-wise, he didn't produce offensively as he hoped, and I think that affected him. And we all go through that. I told him of my own experience as a sophomore, kind of dealing with injuries and not having the kind of productivity that I should have had, and how I rebounded as a junior. So I expect that to happen with him. And I think JT's trying to find his game and find a game that can transfer from being a 30-plus goal scorer in the USHL, which is a really good league, to try to do that here. And that's we think he has a chance to do that. So he'll be given that opportunity, and we'll have to see if he's able to take advantage of that as he moves along. Chris Knutson is a defenseman who didn't play many minutes last year, and when he was just about to play at the end of the season, he got a knee injury in practice. So he had off-season surgery. He's fighting back from that. He's in really good physical condition. And, given some of the dynamics that we're dealing with on defense, he's going to have to be ready to play and hopefully can create a role for himself over time and contribute. So am I missing anybody from the junior class? I think that hit everybody. Long answer, I know.
So obviously, with having a senior goalie back who started every game for you last year is a luxury that not a lot of teams in this country has. Can you talk a little bit about where Jake is right now in terms of going in as a senior starter? Can he be a Hobie candidate? And do you guys have to basically ride him this year for more success than you had last year?
I think Jake's in a real good spot. I think he had a good, productive off season. I think mentally he's in a good place. And I think Jake wants to win. And I think that's the most important thing. Jake is a leader on our team. I think guys have great respect for him. The way he carries himself, the way in which he approaches things, his competitive spirit in practice. helps push guys and makes guys better. I think that's going to be a misconception that we're going to have to go out and prove, but I don't think that Jake has to carry the team. I don't think he has to do that. I think that Jake has to be Jake, and I think he has to do his thing, and I think the team will rise around him. And I really think this team has a chance as we come together to be a real solid team beyond just being good defensively or having a great goaltender. So I don't think he needs to have any kind of undue pressure or expectations. I think it's frankly less than it was last year. I think he just has to have a complete season from the beginning to the end, and I expect that he will.
Tom, you talked about freshmen making an impact and given the opportunity. What do they have to do to get in the lineup and actually develop into players that can actually help your offense and even your defense?
Well, they started the right way. They came in unbelievable shape, unbelievable shape. Vork told me that, they've demonstrated a work ethic and a standard of commitment that is as good as he can remember here with a freshman group. Their test scores have been off the charts for incoming players, and our team tested in real high as a team, and they're right in the mix of that, generally speaking. So that's real good. That's a good start. That helps give you a chance. Now, as they adapt to how we play, they adapt from going from the level they're at to here, confidence is going to be a part of it, and we can't give that. We can only try to help create an atmosphere that will help them along. I think they possess a good skill set. I think you'll see that when you start watching us. We've got some good offensive instincts. We've got some headiness. We've got some size. It's a big class relative to what we lost. I'm trying to think. Ronnie Boyd might have been 6 foot, but other than that, Darnell was about 5'11". Sorensen was 5'9", and Barry's like 5'9" or 5'10". These guys are all 6-footers except for Zach Osborne. And Zach's a different style player. I think you'll see, I don't want to compare him to Torrey Krug by any means, but he plays kind of he's got a lot of explosion. We were doing a forechecking drill yesterday, and it was kind of comical because he'd go get the puck and he'd skate it right out. It's hard to forecheck him. He's slippery, he's quick, he's good with the puck, and he's got some offensive dynamics to his game. But all of these guys, it's going to take them time to adapt to this level of hockey, the size and strength and the speed of the decision-making and the execution. But what makes me comfortable or more comfortable this year is that we actually have some upperclassmen that are going to carry that load a little bit and allows them to kind of, I know they want to get right into it, but allows them to ease into it a little bit more with some support that we really haven't provided the luxury of that transition in the past couple years. We've even gone so far as we've created a bit of, I call it a Spartan Soldiers program internally. It's a mentorship structure that takes kind of our next layer of leader and trying to develop deeper leadership throughout our team, and we've assigned them to a freshman. And that's been working pretty successfally so far early in the year, and just the integration into the team. You see guys kind of taking guys under their wing and helping them along and showing them the way, and I think it's helping build the culture that we want. So I think more than my previous 3 years in particular, I think the freshmen are being integrated into the team in a more organized, or I don't want to say organized, more methodical manner than we've been able to do it before, and I think that will be a benefit to the team ultimately.
How about Appleton?
Well, he's been real impressive so far. He's a very smart, heady player. He's got a very high work ethic. He ran the treadmill, and the two guys that I always hear Dr. Pravarnik talk about in Michigan State lore that were just kind of monsters on the treadmill, and that's his word, monsters, were Duncan Keith and Sean Horkoff, and he mentioned Mason Appleton in that vein. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. His work ethic's real good. We've actually teamed him up in our soldiers program with Mackenzie, and Mackenzie's really kind of getting his arms around him and helping him along, and I think that's a real positive. But I think Appleton has a chance to be a incredibly good college hockey player.
How close was Appleton's score to Keith's score? Just curious.
I don't remember exactly what it was. His comment was just in general, not so much just his score, but more about his recovery, that he was able to really go hard and then recover in a short time period. That test is you go hard on this treadmill that's set at a certain pace and incline for 3 minutes, then you got a short period of time to recover, and then you got to go right back. So they're measuring your heart rate and how fast you can recover, which in our game is really important because you got to go out for 40, 45 seconds, come back out, and boy, it'd be nice if we can get you back on the ice if you can make an impact. And some guys recover much slower than others. So he looks like he's got the type of engine that allows you to recover quickly and log a lot of minutes. So we'll have to see over a period of time.
Now to my main question, Coach. You mentioned offense a little bit. Offense, still a little bit of a question mark for you guys. Are you planning to do anything different, either systematically or personnel-wise, that'll help you get more offense closer to that 2.5 to 3 goals mark per game?
Yes, and yes, we are. I think our maturity is a part of it. Hopefully, guys will have some more confidence than they had the year before. That's certainly one on an individual basis. Systemically, we'll be making some adjustments that we think, based on our experience level, that we can try to make to help enhance it. I think one area that we've got to get better, I looked at our power play last year in 3 phases, the first 11 games, the next 12, and the 12 after that. The first 11 games, we were 11%. The next 12, we were like 24.5%, and the next 12 after that, we were 22%. So we were pretty darn good for 2/3 of the year. And if that can get you a goal a game, that could be a difference maker, And so I think that's an area from a systems and personnel standpoint we have to be better, especially early in the season. We have to be better at that. And then the other area of our game, I think we have to be better in our neutral zone in terms of transitioning to get on the attack offensively and create more in transition. And we have to get more productivity. And when I say productivity, I don't necessarily mean points per se, even though that would be great and welcome, but we have to get our defensemen more active in our overall offensive play in all 3 zones. So I thought we improved that coming out of our own zone last year, that we were a much better team breaking the puck out of the zone and exiting the zone. Now we've got to do a better job, in my opinion, in the neutral zone, and we've got to be more active both in the offensive zone and the forecheck, and we've got to do a better job of getting pucks to the net, pucks through traffic from our points to our net offensively.
Do you think some of your freshmen like Appleton can help you on the power play, especially considering Appleton's history in the USHL?
I do. I think he was a quarterback of his power play in the USHL, and he was real good at it. So I think that gives him a chance as he adapts over a period of time. I think he'll be a contributor there. He sees the ice real well. He moves the puck well. He plays well without the puck, and he competes hard. And those are all good characteristics. I think a couple of the other freshmen they'll have a chance too in that regard. I think Cody Milan. He's a quieter type of kid. I think it will take him a little bit of time to adjust here, but boy, he's got really, really good hands, and he can shoot it and he can pass it. And I think he's a pretty smart kid too as a hockey player. And Zach Osborne's got a little bit of offensive flair that I think can contribute as he gets settled in too. He can really shoot it. He can skate. He can get up in the play. He likes providing offense, and so. I expect that he'll be able to contribute too. So we're excited about that group, and I don't think that, and I don't want them to feel the pressure that, hey, they've got all this pressure on them to start the season. But I think as they get adjusted here, I think they could really contribute to this team.
Coach, Michael Ferrantino's growth as a captain last year, Michael Ferrantino's growth as a captain last year, and what your expectations are for him this year.
More of the same, except I think he'll be even more comfortable in the role. I think that he knows what the expectations are. He knows what the standards are. He establishes himself a very high standard. His teammates respect him, so he has the ability, and I believe he has the courage to hold guys accountable. We have a very good group, and I give him a lot of credit for that, as well as the rest of the group, because they embraced being led. And I think he's gained a year's worth of experience. He's got a strong surrounding cast with him, not just guys that have letters on their uniform, but well beyond that. And I think that helps make him a better leader as well. So I think he's in a real good spot.
So just talk a little bit about the non-conference schedule. Do you have in mind a certain number of points that you would need to get to put you in a position to make the tournament?
Hard to say. I've looked at that over the past couple seasons, actually, and there's no clear magic number. So much has to depend on how things play out with this strength of schedule and how teams are. So I'm just basing what I said on teams that we expect are going to be good teams and how some of these preseason polls come out. And, as they shake out, they'll shake out over a period of time. Some new teams will emerge. We want to be one of them, and other teams are going to fall out of it. But, I expect Denver's going to have a good team. They're a top 5 team in the preseason. North Dakota's going to have a good team. They're a top 5 team in the preseason. One of those series is on the road early, which I think is great because it gives our team a chance to kind of come together traveling-wise. And then North Dakota's at home a few weeks into the season as, hopefully our team continues to evolve and is finding itself a little bit. And then you go beyond that. We're at BC. That'll be a great challenge for us in a very difficult environment. It's a one-game shot, and right now, for many, they're a preseason potential national contender, as they have been many times. And then, Michigan Tech was right there last year competing for their league championship. I think New Hampshire is going to be a much improved team from where they were a year ago, and they were a pretty decent team in a very good conference. So our non-conference schedule, Lake Superior always plays Michigan State tough, always. It's a huge series. It's a defining series for Lake Superior, so that will be a real challenging environment for us, and we're going to play them 3 times in 4 games, which makes it even more difficult. So I don't know much about Maine's team right now, but one of the reasons we're going out there is to have the opportunity for Travis Walsh to play where I think he was born out in Orono, and I have great respect for his dad, and so does Red Generin, Maine's coach. And when he reached out to me to bring Travis to Maine to play, that's why we went. That's the real reason we went. So that will be a challenging environment, and anytime you have your first game, no matter who you play, everybody's trying to find themselves. So it'll be interesting to see where we are at that point. The Northeastern game was that's a Mark Hollis concoction. He called me one day and said, "Hey, can you adjust your schedule to play Northeastern?" And our schedule was already set. And I said, "We can try." And I didn't know what he was up to, but we later learned that he was trying to package these games together. And I think that's a real cool experience for our players. So we actually had to reschedule a game because we're confined by our game count. We had to push somebody off to a different year, and somebody worked with us to do that so we could schedule that game. But that'll be – Northeastern's got a good team. They'll have a good team. I think they'll surprise a lot of people in Hockey East. They're fast. They have a couple players who are very talented, and the one kid in particular will probably be a Hobie candidate. So that will be a very challenging way to end our first half of the season. Then we come back, we go on break. So our break will be a lot shorter than normal, and then we go to the GLI.
Tom, do you look to get Ed more playing time in the net this year? And also, he's part of a sophomore class of just 4 players. What are your expectations of the sophomore class this
Well,
year?
I'd like to get Ed some playing time for sure. He's definitely progressing. He needs to be game ready if the opportunity ever comes up where he's needed. Clearly Hildy's our number 1 goalie, and we're going to go with him. But I would very much, Jason Muzzati's our new volunteer goaltending coach, and we've spent a fair bit of time talking about strategically how we can kind of lay games in for Ed to give him an opportunity to further his development. So that is a priority for us, and we're going to have to figure out how we're going to approach that for sure. As far as the sophomore class is concerned, I think they got their feet on the ground a little bit last year. I think Carson Gatt will continue to evolve and play a bigger role on defense this year. He's a good puck-moving defenseman. I think he's in very good physical shape. I think he can add some physicality to our blue line. I think our blue line has a chance to be the most physical since I've been here. He can play with some good physicality. Johnny Drager had the first year in his 4 years here where he actually got to train in the off season because of injuries and surgery, rehab, and all that kind of stuff. And he's gained some size and strength. So he has a nice physical presence back there. Rhett Holland, he's a tank, and he can be a real physical presence back there as well. And, Dylan Pavlik's going to be competing for time. He's got lots of skill, and we think he has a chance to make an impact here. He's just got to, go earn time, gain confidence, and hopefully ultimately make a significant impact over time.
Kind of covered a lot of the ground I was going to go after with the defenseman. You lose Josh Jacobs, a guy who logged
mental telepathy. That's what
I know. He logged a lot of minutes for you
Who's
guys,
that?
Jacobs, last year. First of all, how do you replace those minutes? And secondly, when you have two guys who are freshmen who are going to be in that playing group probably, do you know how you plan on splitting them up? And how do you plan on getting them indoctrinated to the defensive systems that you guys are running?
Well, the plan is changing. One of the freshmen that we were really counting on playing had surgery. Jared Rosberg came here coming off of knee surgery that he had in the USHL. We were expecting him to play and contribute, and he's got a well-rounded game, plays both ends of the rink, can add some physicality. He plays with a lot of intelligence and competitive grit. And he had surgery yesterday. He's coming home today. He's probably arriving in Lansing right about now, and he's done for the season. So that thins us out back there in a way that we weren't really expecting. And so we need to help Chris Knutson elevate his game so he can play meaningful minutes. We need to transition Zach Osborne so he can play meaningful minutes. I think those other four defensemen that we have returning from last year, they'll all play significant minutes, and we've got to stay healthy. That's going to be an important part because we don't have when we planned this season and how things were going to lay out, we thought we'd be in a very good position depth-wise, and it's not quite where we had hoped or planned for it to be. So it presents some opportunity, and we'll probably have to need some good fortune as well that we don't run into injury problems back there. I don't know the complexity of the first one as much as he has an issue that just they've tried several different ways to rehabilitate it, and it just hasn't worked. And so we were getting to a point. He's been here since July. They've tried several different things to help. They've tried immobilization. They've tried rest. They've tried stem cell injections. They've tried different things, and it hasn't worked. So we went to a doctor who's as good as it gets in the world, I'm told. We have great medical support here who have taken all the right steps. And it was decided by all the parties involved and Jared and his family as well that this was the right step to take and now is the right time to do it. So time is on our side. And because we were hoping that it wouldn't come to surgery, but it was kind of like, okay, it's time to decide what's next. And we weren't seeing, while we were seeing some gradual progress, ultimately it was determined there wasn't going to be enough progress without having surgery. So why not have it now so we have time on our side? So it does handicap us a little bit back there for sure, but that's the way it goes.
I got a two-parter here. First of all, Ryan Keller scored some goals for you late in the season and became a real offensive presence. Can you just talk about where he is and how much you're going to need him to score? And then the second part is with adding Jason Muzzatti as a goaltending coach, do you expect your goaltenders to be a little more physical in the crease?
that your way of saying, are we going to fight? I didn't say that. That's what you were thinking. I'll start with that one. I don't expect necessarily that that will be more physical per se, but I will say this, that I think one of Muzz's real areas of strength as a goaltender, and in addition to his competitive spirit, his ability to stop the puck, was his ability to play the puck. He was a real good puck handler and real good passer. And I think our goaltenders could upgrade their ability in that area, and that's an area he's already been spending some time on for sure. As far as Keller is concerned, I thought he really kind of came into his own and took his game to a higher level. And like every player, confidence is a huge part of that, and I think he comes back very confident. He started slow last year, and the reason he started slow is he didn't make a good enough commitment in the offseason. And I told him that. I'm not bashful to share it. I challenged him this summer, and I thought he did a good job. He made a lot of progress. So I think the combination of coming in a better place to start, along with the confidence he gained in the latter half of the season last year, especially probably the final third of the season, really will help him hopefully get off to a very good start. And I think he's one of those players that if he emerges into a bigger role, that will be a real positive for us and can make a great impact on our game. Not just in point productivity, but he can play with speed. He can forecheck. He's got a good stick. He's a big body. He can have a big presence in front of the net. So we're hopeful that he has his best season as a Spartan by far this year.